Hi there. Welcome to Hippie Happy Homeschooler. My name is Gina. I'm hopping on here today to share a brand new elective subject that I have introduced into our homeschool this year for my juniors. I have twins that are 16 years old, boy and girl, Micah and Maya. And this year, one of the subjects that I really wanted them to have the information for was psychology. So I kind of did a scour of the internet to see what kind of options were out there. There were different online programs where you're working with, a school where there's Zoom classes, different meetups and things like that. But I wanted something that was more self-paced. That was important to me. The other thing that was obviously important to me as a Christian was having a psychology class from a Christian perspective. And so I did a search and started to stumble across a lot of different information about a homeschooling online elective website where they have sociology, there's elementary education classes, there is psychology. There's a whole host of other elective options that they have on there, and psychology caught my eye. And so it's the 7 Sisters Homeschoolers online, and the way that their program works is you have 2 different options. You can either purchase the text and work simply from the text, where you have a text for the kids, and then you also have a teacher's copy, and you kind of walk through it with them. Or you can do the text along with video lessons that are also an option. So what we did in our home, because I could not add another subject to my load, and I really try as my kids get older to sort of, loosen the strings a little bit more and more, give them more freedom. By the time they're juniors in high school, most of their work they should really be doing independently, whether it's math or grammar, or obviously their readings and their science. All of those are subjects that they should be doing by themselves for the most part. I mean, not that they never come to you for questions, but by that point, they're proficient readers, they're great at researching, they can troubleshoot problems on the computer, they should have some problem solving skills, some critical thinking skills. You're really trying to help them be growing into adults, and so if I can give them subjects that they're capable of doing without me, it's not just helpful to them, it's also helpful to me, So we have plenty of subjects that we do as a family. We do apologetics and Bible and history. All of our history we do together. We do art together. We do literature and poetry and Latin. So there's plenty of things to do as a family, but there's still some of those subjects that are reserved for just them, and this is one of them. So the way that this class works is, the way that I've done it is I've downloaded the video self-paced classes, which are classes done through teachable.com, and the table of contents has 16 different chapters, so you can spread this course out for the entire year if you want to. The way that I am working it with them is they're going to do 2 chapters per school month. We're in school about 8-9 months out of the year, give or take. So I'm having them do 2 chapters out of the book per month with the 2 videos that go along with it. And then the way that the program works is there's different levels for accreditation. So you can earn a half credit by just reading through the text, answering the questions at the end of the text, and completing any enrichment and exercises. For a full credit, you add in 1 enrichment exercise per chapter or you can replace that enrichment exercise by adding in a book from the list that they give you, and then maybe writing a 1 to 2 page paper. Level 3 is 3 enrichment exercises, or replace the enrichment exercises with 2 books from the list and writing a 2 page paper. And then you have advanced level, which is reading the text, 6 enrichment exercises, or replacing 2 enrichment exercises by reading 1 of the books from the list and writing a paper. And then the level 5, which is honors, is doing both the enrichment exercises and a book, and replacing also with extra books on top of that. So you can really go as deep as you want to with this course, and that's why I love it so much, because you can really tailor it to your child. If you have a child that you really feel like is capable of that honors level, and you can add on several different enrichment activities as well as a book study or 2 extra every month, go for it. If you have a child that struggles with reading, or they just can't take that full load, but you do want to advance it a little bit, you can add in an enrichment exercise. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over what the difference would be between the enrichment exercises versus the books that are offered as well. So for instance, these are the different subjects. You have the brain and how it works, perception, genetics, learning, history of psychology, ancient to pre-modern times, psychology into modern times, communication, needs and motivation, looking at personality and theory, sleep and dreams, abnormal psychology, crisis intervention, psychological testing, Christian counseling, understanding research and statistics, and careers in psychology. So what really attracts me about this is that they're learning about all the different parts of the brain. They're learning about emotions. They're learning about personalities. They're learning about communication. They're learning about addiction and how that affects the brain. They're learning about crisis. They're learning about how they can apply these things to a career. And that should be like a goal if they want, to explore further. So for instance, when they talk about enrichment, one of the options they gave for the first chapter, which was the brain and how it works, you could, using colored clay, make a model of the human brain with all of its parts and make a cross section and label the parts. Or you could draw. You could use different artistic manipulatives. You could paint. My daughter is an artist, and she decided she really wanted to draw hers and then label it. So she did it this way with colored pencils, and she just decided to draw the brain and then label it. My son, I think he's going to choose the clay option just for something different. There's also the options to do the books with the essays that you write alongside of them, like I mentioned before. So there's a whole list of books that they offer for each chapter. And so for the first one, we chose Who Switched Off My Brain by Dr. Caroline Leaf. I've read this one before. It's about controlling toxic thoughts and emotions. So they're going to go ahead. They actually have already started the course. So they're reading it right now. And I believe there's 135 pages, and there's 6 chapters total, I think. So what they've been doing is writing a narration. That's the way we do it in our home. Since we tend to lean more towards a Charlotte Mason style, they will read a chapter and they will write a 1 to 2 page paper narration on each chapter. That's how I prefer to do it, because I really want them to retain what they read. And I think that it helps embed it a little bit more if they're writing a page or a page and a half of the chapter versus the whole book. So they're doing that for the first chapter. The second book that they're doing is called The Miracle Worker, and this one goes along with chapter 2, which is Perception. This one is the unforgettable, inspiring story of Helen Keller and the woman who set her free. It's a very small book. I think it's only 120 tiny pages. So they're going to read this next. They're almost done with Who Switched Off My Brain, and they're getting ready to dive into Perception, and they'll be using this. There are, let me see if I can find it so I can read it. So some of the other books that are listed as options for the entire course. A biography of Gregor Mendel, first geneticist, Francis Crick and James Watson, who developed the DNA model. For the learning chapter, The Way They Learn by Cynthia Ulrich Tobias. Chapter 5 and 6, which is the history part of psychology into modern times. You can choose biographies on Plato, on Hippocrates, on Aristotle, all of which are just fascinating. Carl Jung, Viktor Frankl, J.B. Watson. So they will be choosing one of those to explore. There's also an option for the 10 Unwritten Rules of Social Interaction by Temple Grandin, PhD, and Sean Barron. There's also a Needs and Motivation chapter, The Truth About Dating, on and on. There's so many different options that you can choose for each chapter to really bulk it up and make it a more advanced course. So I haven't ordered all of my extra books just yet. I grabbed about 4 or 5 to start us off for the school year. So what I have so far is the Who Switched Off My Brain, The Miracle Worker. We're going to do personality tests, and then I did purchase Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking for my daughter, because she is an introvert. And I think that she'll really appreciate this book. And the Temperament God Gave You, The Classic Key to Knowing Yourself, Getting Along with Others, and Growing Closer to the Lord. This one I'm giving to my son. It's another one that addresses temperament type, introvert versus extrovert. He's an extrovert, so it kind of explores that. Another one that I chose was 12 Ways Your Phone is Changing You. This one is going to be probably in the communications section. There's another book that I have on Audible that I'm going to have them listen to in regards to anxiety, called Little Panic. I've actually listened to it myself, and it's a really fascinating read. It really brings to life all of the thought processes that go into the mind of a child who's experiencing panic disorder and anxiety. It really brings them there so that they can understand and have more compassion. My kids don't really need help with compassion in that area, because they truly do understand anxiety and have a great deal of empathy, as we do have some people in our family that have really high anxiety. So it's not something that they're a stranger to, but I still think that the book, it brings it out even more. So I'm going to have them listen to that. Another book that I chose, it wasn't on the list, but I just felt like it would be a great introduction to Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life and an Antidote to Chaos. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book, so I'm going to grab a copy for myself as well to read it, and then also going to introduce them to his podcast, just on a number of subjects. We do plan on also adding in a couple of documentaries, Social Contagion being one of them. There's a number of other really good documentaries out there right now that I think are highly, highly important for kids navigating the culture that we're living in right now from a Christian perspective. So those are just a few things that I wanted to share about the course. so far I'm very impressed with it. My kids really love the text. They said that it's very engaging. It gives them homework assignments at the very end of the chapter, so they have to answer questions based on what they read. They said that the videos are interesting. And the way that I'm working this in conjunction with all of these is I'm having them do 2 chapters per month with a book added for each chapter that they're reading. So if the chapter's on the brain and how it works, they will have a book for that chapter. If it's on perception, they will have a book for that chapter. And they're responsible for completing both of those books by the end of the month, as well as these 2 chapters, the video that goes along and pairing with it, as well as narrations for the books that they're reading, and making sure that they're keeping up with their questions. Before I end the video, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take you over to my computer and I'm going to show you how to navigate through purchasing the text books as well as the video series. They do offer a code for a discount for the video teachings if you purchase the text. So I found that to be great. We have twins, and so I didn't have to purchase 2 separate books. I didn't have to purchase 2 separate video teaching programs on Teachable. I purchased 1 of each. I downloaded the PDF, I printed it off, and I put them both in a binder. And so they each have their own binder with text, and then they log into the Teachable and they watch the videos as they have time. I didn't even create a different username and password because they tend to do their school layout, like as far as how they're doing their classes. They work on different things at different times, and so they're never really on there at the same time. And I'm really not even thinking that there's a problem. Even if they were on there at the same time, I don't think it messes up anything with the videos. So, all right, so here we are on the Seven Sisters Homeschool Helps website. Its web address is sevensistershomeschool.com. I hope you can see that clearly. But I'm going to help you navigate the site so that you can figure out what courses benefit you and your family. So what I'm going to click on is right here, financial literacy, health, social sciences, speech, and electives. That's what we're going to click on. That's right on the home page. And we're going to scroll down and see, you can see here they have all different kinds of classes. Career exploration, high school career ideas, curriculum bundle to prepare for independence, which includes financial literacy, apologetics, etc. Early education, early childhood education, which is interesting to me too. My daughter has expressed interest in possibly teaching elementary school. So we're going to keep scrolling down until we get to the psychology option, and I think it's right there. So here's where you are going to go. You're going to go to Introduction to Psychology from a Christian Perspective, and you're going to add to cart, okay? And when you check out, they should give you a code for the online course to add to it. So you're gonna download and check out, right? Then you go back up here and you're gonna go to Introduction to Psychology from a Christian Perspective, self-paced asynchronous course. Seven Sisters textbook is required. Click here to register. Sorry for the blank screen. It's taken a second to think. And then it'll bring you here where you're gonna hit register, and it registers you through Teachable. Now for me, we're already registered, so it's not gonna take me through the whole product. So now I'll show you how the class works. So we're here, and this is what you're gonna see. About this course, then there's an 18-minute video on why study psychology, then they're gonna go through Chapter 1, The Brain and How It Works, which is a 33-minute video. Chapter 2 is a 25-minute. Chapter 3 is 12 minutes, so on and so forth. So as you can see, this is a great way to pair together with the text. You could do it without it, but for me personally, I just think it was a great option for the kids so that they didn't have to have me working with them. They can do it independently. They really enjoy someone else's teaching other than just mom, especially someone who is proficient in psychology and knows what they're talking about. So that's that. And that's a wrap for me for today on the psychology subject. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it has been helpful. As always, feel free to ask questions in the comments if I didn't address something specific. I hope that it helps you in making decisions for your high schoolers. God bless and have a great day. Bye.